I get up. Focus, come on, be a good girl. I'm gonna stay focused. Opportunities.
Ay, uphuma tshela thina ukufana saqala singaga sisabanga kabheka manje sisingaga ngithi kudala bafethu shalo hlelo ngithanda ukubonga kunina lapha emakhaya ukusamukela ke ngezandla ezifudumele endlini zenu. Speaking of which, athi ngiqala ngilisa abantu abadala ngisanibonani and a salute to all my hustlers. Igama uMeqelele Lishumo bafethu ngithi namhlanje siyashishiliza sibheka ezamashishini bafethu samba nosisi lana ke osebenzisa iBcom yakhe to become ungqoshishilizi. Usihle bafethu dalazi ufuna ukuba iprofessional bafethu uqhwepheshe kusukela kudala ke asamba ngeenyawo ayiqonde esikolweni bafethu kubanda kushisa kodwa bekazi umphumela uzoba muhle njengoba azi ukubaleka kangakanani bafethu ukuba nemfundo njengoba afuna ukuba i-chartered accountant. Sihlangana naye ke sihlale phansi sibuza ukuthi kahle kahle uqhamba kuphi nokuthi uzibona akuphi. Ngithi sihle sisi ngithi njengo Beyonce formation and slay.
I'll describe myself as a black girl from the rural areas with big dreams. Igama lami nguSihle Ndzimbomvu, ngina 26, ngihlala eDube eSoweto. Ngizalelwe eOrlando, ngahamba ngineminyaka emithathu, ngahlala eNatal endaweni yaseMzimkhulu nomamkhulu.
uSihle ukuze aye ekhaya wayethanda ukuhlala nabantwana bakubo. Yayibhlungu nenhliziyo ngokuhlukana nomntana mbuye yedwa engekho umunye. Kodwa ke ngangithandwa umntwana okhulela ekhaya angakhuleli eGoli ngoba eGoli abantwana bayamosheka.
Ingane zikababa bezu-12 kodwa ke ekhaya ngubaba bekhulisa nezinye izingane. Besifika na ku-32 mangaba sesiphelele sonke. Sikhule kahle siswani, ingxabano bezikhona ingxabano nje ejwayelekile kubantu abazalwa umuntu oyedwa. Noma bowuthukuthela isikhashana uphinde uxole ngoba bekumndeni ogcwele injabulo ogcwele ukuhleka. Bowuthi noma uthukuthele bakugcona ugcina usuhleka nawe usukhohlwa ukuthi ubuthukutheliswa yini. Mawukhulela emakhaya umntana entombazane kukhona izinto ewulindele ukuthi uzenze njengokuthi kube ukha amanzi, kube uphekayo. Bekumnandi kokha amanzi emfuleni ngoba uhamba nabantu oyanabo esikoleni njalo. Besike sifike sidlaleke futhi emfuleni. Kube inkinga uma usubuye ekhaya ngoba umamkhulu ulindele amanzi wena ubhizi uyadlala emfuleni. Umuntu engisondelene naye kakhulu ubaba umuntu olulekayo kakhulu. Uyena umuntu owangifundisa ukuthi umuntu kumele uzazi ukuthi usukaphi kanti futhi uyaphi. Noma sikhule ubaba esokola njengomuntu bengasebenzi kodwa beqinisekisa ukuthi siyakwazi ukuthi siye esikolweni, sihamba futhi sidlile, sibuye sidle. Lokho bekwenza ukuthi singaboni ukuthi impilo ekhaya ayikho mnandi inzima. Ngikhule uma egcizelela ukuthi imfundo iyona into yokuguqula impilo yakho.
Ngalesikhathi isikhula thina abafana bebeya esikolweni. Thina kuthiwana ugcina nje kwa-second year uyaphuma esikolweni mawukwazi ukubhala igama lakho. Ngani ngoba intombazane ufuneke ishade ukuze abazali bathole inkomo. uSihle bengithanda ukuthi aye esikolweni ngoba mina angizange ngilithole ithuba lokufunda. Ngakubona futhi ukuthi mawungafundanga awunalo ikusasa eliqhakazile.
Mangikhula ekhaya imisebenzi beyaziwa ukuba yinesi or ube uthishela. Kodwa mina ngangayiboni ngiba yinesi. So ke mina ke ngibe ngifunda incwadi kabhuti wami ngelinye ilanga ye-English literacy. Mangibheka ngemuva ngibone lama career mangithi ngiyabuka khona le abayibiza ukuthi chartered accountant. Ngithi ngoba ngiyayithanda ke accounting ngifuna ukuba yiyo ke mina chartered accountant. Ngaleso sikhathi ngangingakazi ukuthi ukuba chartered accounting kungani. ufunda ini high school kodwa ngase ngazi ukuthi ngifuna ukuba yona. Mangenzi ibanga le-11 ngingasuke eNatal ngeza ngazofunda ngapha eGoli. Bekunzimanyana ngoba phela ukendaweni ehlukile akusafani nasemakhaya kanti futhi akusibona abantu abajwayele. Ngelinye ilanga ngase ngathola ukuthi la esikolweni banemkomeliso uma ngawenze kahle. Ngase ngibona ukuthi cha ngisanalo ithuba lokuthi nami ngiveze italent lami. Mina nomngani wami sasikhompithela isitifiketi esisodwa se-accounting. And then lena award yokuba i-top achiever kuma matric esikoleni engangifunda kuso. Mangiqeda umatriculation bengi-applyile e-Rhodes na-Civet ngi-applyile i-BCom accounting. Ngoba khona umuntu angicebisile ukuthi uma ufuna ukuba i-CA kumele uthathe lo mkhakha lowo enyuvesi. Wabuya impendulo yase-Rhodes. Uma ifika imali ebabeyifuna yayiningi kakhulu. Mangithi ngiyabheka isimo ekhaya angeke kuvumeleke ukuthi ngiye khona eRhodes. Ngithe ngisahlezi ngisayicabanga ukuthi ngizokwenza njani. Kwangena incwadi ephuma e-UJ, University of Johannesburg, eshoyo ukuthi ngi-acceptiwa ngihambe ngiyobhalisa. Kodwa ngangingazi ukuthi mina nga-apply e-UJ kanti uma owa-applya ngingazi. Ngimbona nje nifuna izinto kanti uyazazi ukuthi wenzani eceleni. Umbano bazange bangabazi ukuthi bangakhona ukuthi bangikhokhele izifundo zami. Kodwa bekuyimi umuntu obengabaza ngoba ngazi isimo sasekhaya. So ngithe mangiqala e-UJ ubaba kwaba uye umuntu okhokhayo. Ngayo lo mali ebeka ikhanda ngalawo ma-piece bewabamba. Uma use-university bayihlukanisa i-BCom accounting. Kuba khona i-BCom accounting ehambelana nokuba CA stream, then khona engahambelani ne-CA stream. Mina ke mangenza unyaka wami wesibili azaye ngenze kahle ngangasaqhubeka ne-CA stream. So mangiqeda unyaka wami wesithathu ngabe sengibona ukuthi ngoba ngiyayithanda i-subject abayibiza ukuthi financial management angenza ama-honors we-financial management. Ngiqede ngo-2011. Masiqeda safuna umsebenzi. Kwayintsolo ukuthola umsebenzi. Khona-ke ikhampani engangizwe engangisase esikolweni ababethi i-Guarantee Trust. Ngoba into abayenzayo benza i-work readiness program lapho bekulungiselela khona umsebenzi. Bese bangifonele bathi hayi cha siyakuthatha ukuthi uzojoyina le program le. Bangitholele umsebenzi eNgubane but bengathi wona angeke sithi umsebenzi bekuyi-internship bekukwenza ama-psycho articles. Njengoba sengiqedile-ke i-internship yami kusasa ngizoyilungiselela for i-interview yokuthi badecide ukuthi bangithatha yini for i-permanent position yokuba i-auditor.
Ngifisela nje ukuthi nje aphumelele izinto zakhe zonke. Into engimbeka kuyo every day umthandazo ukuthi mntana noma kunzima iwa ngedolo.
Uma ngawuthela lo msebenzi kumina kuba into enkulu ngoba ngisafuna ukwenzela abazali bami into enkulu. Ngisafuna ukuthi ngibakhele indlu enkulu. Ubaba ngimnikeze ikhefu kancane naye athi ukuhlala phansi akayimamele njengomuntu omdala. just got to Ngubane Company for my post-article position. I'm a bit nervous, even though I've worked here, but it's a bit scary because I'm not the only one who's actually competing for this position. And I don't even know what they ask. My last interview was 4 years ago. So I am just tiny bit nervous.
Morning to you, Sihle.
Morning, Zaba.
My name is Zaba. I'm heading the HR department of the company Ngubane Co, which is based here in Johannesburg, and welcome to the interview.
Thank you very much.
Giving you the background of the company, we are a company which was started in 1995, which means we're going for 21 years now. We're a nationwide company. The services that we provide, internal, external auditing, as well as accounting services, forensic investigation. So those are the things that we do as a company. I understand you have worked in here, you have done your articles with us, you're completing.
Yes.
But how would you describe yourself? Or your colleagues, how would they describe you?
Okay. When it comes to my colleagues, they would describe me as a workaholic, of which I disagree. I don't see it as workaholic. I'm a very dedicated person. I make sure whatever I'm given, I give it my best. I even go beyond 100% when I'm doing my work. And I think it is shown by the fact that everybody would love to work with me. So that's how I would describe myself.
Having done the articles with us, what would you do differently when you look back? This is where you are, you're about to complete, you're about to be signed off.
Yes.
What would you do differently when you look back?
When I look back, when I started my articles, initially I was studying as well. So I was supposed to have completed with my studies, qualified as a CA by the time I completed my articles. But instead of that, I am still studying as it stands. So what I would have done differently is to find a balance between the two, my studies as well as work, because I think I put more effort on work and that had an impact on my studies. Yes.
Tell me your weaknesses as a human being.
My weaknesses are perfection. I'm a perfectionist, and I think that's the reason as well I suffered on my studies, because I wanted to be known on my work. I wanted my work to speak on my behalf, and then I forgot to balance the work with the studies as well. So that's my biggest weakness. And another one is I've never learned to say no. Even if I have a pile of work, I couldn't say no when someone is asking me to do something. So that's another weakness that I have.
Yeah. We do understand that this is your sign of time, if one can put it that way. We're under the impression that you completed all your competencies, you know everything. But what would you say are your areas of improvement?
Even though I've been based in external audit, I think I need to improve on other areas. Be a complete package, not just be an external auditor. Also have a little bit in marketing, have a little bit in financial advisory, or maybe do other accounting services that the company is offering to some of our clients.
Oh, that's great. This is a scenario question.
Yes.
You are an auditor. Mm-hmm. You are aspiring to be an accountant.
Yes.
How would you deal with a situation where a client, or maybe generally, how would you deal with a situation where you feel your integrity is being compromised?
Okay, as part of my training, ethics were a very important component for your professional skills, for you to complete your articles fully. So if I'm feeling like my integrity is being compromised, as I have been told, you need to communicate such difficulties to a person who is at a senior level, to tell them what challenges are you having within the client, and then to see if they can advise you otherwise, especially if you know that you can't handle them yourself. So what I would do is to speak to my assistant manager or manager or the director within the job. If I see that I'm still not getting a proper response from those levels, I know the company also has a technical department, so I will consult as well with the technical department to see how I can handle the situation. Or I can ask to be removed from the audit, and that will actually be a good way of handling it.
Speaking of which, there are bound to be conflicts. Give us a scenario where you had to handle conflict.
We were at the client. As a senior at the client, you have people who are just starting articles and they're a bit fragile when they're starting their articles, and then you know that there are those clients who are a bit difficult, who shout at the first years because according to them, they take them as people who still don't know the business operations, even though they have the knowledge from varsity, but they don't understand how things are done in the real world. So one of the conflicts I had, my trainee was kicked out by one of our clients because he was asking irrelevant questions. So I had to come in and then intervene with the client and explain to them that they are first years, they need to understand that we're also in a training environment. As we are in a training environment, they will get such people. If she still feels uncomfortable about the trainee, we can assign someone who's senior to come in with the trainee, and the senior person will demonstrate on how you ask questions to a client. Yes, that's how I handled the conflict.
Okay, the last part of it, this was the first one.
Yes.
We're assessing your ability, your communication, and your basic understanding. But I'm going to introduce you to a mentor who's going to conduct an assessment and look at your competences. And then once we get the outcomes of that, I'm going to be back and then I'm going to give you the outcomes thereof.
Okay. Thank you very much, Saba.
Thanks, a nice meeting you, Sihle.
Thanks for having me the opportunity.
Thanks, thank you.
O buile Sihle, o utlwahetse. Ke mosebetsi ya ikanang ka nnete. Ene ke rata tsela ya gore o kgona ho nka boyena ba hae a bo kopanya le dintho tsa mosebetsi. Ha o bua ka di weak points tsa hao, je ka ha a buile hore ke perfectionist, e fa tharollo ka seo. Ene haholo, ke rata hore o se a qetile ka mohopolo wa hae ka moo a batlang ho ya teng. Mohopolo o leng hore o se o phethehile ke mohopolo o itekanetseng. Mesebetsi ya di-accountant e mengata haholo, ene hlokahalo ya bona e fetisa boteng ba bona. Bo ho tjho hore tsela e ba amohelang ka yona e ntle haholo go fetisa di-career tse ngata. Tsela ya accounting ha e bonolo. Seo ko bane ma-hustlers, sengwe le sengwe se bohlokwa bophelong ba hao ha se tle bonolo. Empa kelello ya hao e matla. Ha fela o ikenya ka dintho tse le hore ke mehopolo e hantle, bophelo ba hao bo tla fetoha. Tseba gore seo se kenyang ka hare ho mohopolo wa hao o ka se bopa. Hustlers yonke lenkulumo ke yokukhuluma ngemali ingenzi ngacabanga. Ngifuna ukwazi abangakanani abenu ke sibahlele ikusasa labo uma kuza kwezemali, nokuthi abangakanani abenu asebaye endaweni ezinikala ngolwazi nokuthi ukusebenziswa kanjani imali, ukubhadala ke ama student loans noma ke ukuhlela ke ama personal budget wabo. Ngicela ke nisitsheleni wonke ama good tips nokuthi singaxazulula kanjani yonke lenkinga. Fakani imicabangweni khona lapha na ku Twitter na ku Facebook njengamanje, uyazi bathi izandla ziyagezana.
My name is Andile Donbata. I'm a registered auditor as well as a chartered accountant. I'm a director here at Ngubane. My sole responsibilities with regards to staff development as well as performance management. And my key and my drive in this organization is very much to empower young black women, because there's very few of us within the profession and even less of us within registered auditors. So my passion is basically to build young black female CAs. Morning, Sihle.
Morning, Dawn. How are you?
How are you doing? Take a seat.
Thank you.
I understand that you've gone through your first interview.
Yes, I have.
So basically for your first assessment, I want you to do an audit risk assessment at a financial statement level. As you understand, for me to even sign the financial statements, I need to understand what could potentially go wrong in an entity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you financial statements for ABC. I want you to look at them and I want you to apply yourself. What factors are actually a risk? You need to also look at internal factors as well as external factors that could potentially go wrong. Try doing some research on the company. Has there anything been reported about the company? Because those are things that are red flags to us. And also highlight those, because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we've basically addressed the risk. In task one, Sihle was required to do a risk assessment of the client. She was supposed to go out there and understand what the client is about. She was expected to look at the regulations that govern the client. She was to look at the controls. She was to also look at the financial statements to see what numbers that they have. When she had an understanding what the client is about, she was then expected to formulate audit risks.
sishaya inamba bafethu, sishaya ibalo ngithi sahlanganisa sahlukanisa bafethu, plus and minus sipatanisa ke umkhakha babiza ngokuthi i-accounting. Sama la salethu usihle njoba alaphana ke Ngubane Co bafethu. Into azihambe yoshaya i411 njoba ke ibheka amabhuku wemali enkampani ethize bafethu ayilungiselela ke for an audit. Ngithi ke into azihambe yenza umsebenzi, but right now in the meantime sokusikhathi ukuthi manje nginikeze iwejambu lethu yakule viki. Nina nazi lapha emakhaya ukuthi kumele nenzeni bafethu. Niyaqaphela ukuthi eliphi legama esifunayo ufake eyakho impendulo khona lapha ku social media. Awuthi ke nginikeza amahlu amabili bafethu, which is the letters C and C. I hope you can see the word that we're looking for bafethu. But right now asamse into okazi lapha ukuthi iqhuba kanjani njoba ke yoshaya ke i-company profile. Asambe siyobona.
I'm going to go through Google just to gather the company profile to understand the background of the company. The disciplines of auditing, we do have tax, we do have management accounting. It's one of the things we have to apply depending on the entity that we are auditing. I'm a huge fan of management accounting compared to tax, but I try and make sure that I still understand tax because I need to deliver to my clients as well. It's not about me, it's about what I give to someone, what value am I adding to them.
The profession of auditing, we are basically out there to basically give stakeholders and whoever an opinion on how their financial statements are. So we basically come in, we look at the financial statements and we say they're sound based on the accounting framework you have and based on the legal requirements that are basically applicable.
Task 1 is about audit risk. And for me to actually get the audit risk within the client, I have to get an overall understanding of the client by reading through their profile or getting any articles that we list relating to that company, and also getting the annual reports of the company because it includes all the information, non-financial and financial. So by using that, you can actually get to raise audit risks.
The most important thing before we get into any engagement from an audit perspective is we need to assess the client. We do what we call client acceptance. So we'll need to assess the client and say what is the risk that we are basically as an organization faced. These could be factors that could expose us and that could basically taint our reputation. For example, a strip club, we wouldn't take that because that wouldn't look good for us as professionals. So it's very important, and our auditing standards require that before accepting engagement, we must do a proper risk assessment. In addition to just also understanding the risk, another thing that we need to consider, are we able to even service the client? So for example, you could find a client comes on board and we don't have the skills and the expertise. For example, it's a banking sector. It's huge, very complex, and it requires someone who's had in-depth knowledge and experience within that sector. Because to address the risk and to do the work, we must have the skills and the competencies. So that's very critical in also accepting a new client and from a risk perspective.
I'm going to search for articles relating to the company. I do enjoy doing the research because it gives you a broader understanding of the client before you go in and actually test if the numbers that are put out there are correct. Because once you understand the client, it's easier for you to understand why they do certain things. Because if you don't, you might end up raising questions that are irrelevant, and sometimes that makes the client angry. It's not like everyone does the research, but if you do it, you look like you know what you're doing. So it also gives a client confidence in your work and also in the opinion that you're going to give to them.
Hey Sihle.
Hi Dawn.
Are you done with the assessment?
Yes, I think I'm done.
Okay, so maybe to start off, let's go through the risk that you've identified.
Okay, I'll start by the background because that was going to help me to actually identify the risk.
Okay.
Okay, I've noted that the company is a public entity and their mandate is to actually spend
Okay.
So as a public entity, they have to comply with certain rules and regulations.
Okay, that's good.
Yes, in terms of the risks that I've identified, I've classified them to say these are inherent risk and these are control risk.
Okay.
Okay, under inherent risk, what I've identified is that the company, it has 14 subsidiaries and 28 JVs, which means there might be a complex structure.
Okay.
Yes, and also we might need to rely on other auditors to perform the work on our behalf.
The biggest driver with regards to government entities is the compliance issue. They are there to spend by obligation, but the trick comes in from a compliance perspective. Are you complying with the requirements from treasuries, the laws and regulation? Are you spending in line with what government has basically stipulated? That's where the high risk then comes in from a state-owned entity.
And the other thing is that they're operating in a technology industry, of which it's a bit tricky, that one, because it's a continuous changing environment. So are they actually adapting to make sure whatever new developments that are coming up, they're actually taking the opportunity to invest into them?
When you look at a client, no two clients are the same. Each client deals within different sectors. As you're coming from varsity, varsity will teach you an understanding of accounting and auditing. But when you do the accounting and auditing, before you can audit, you need to now do research. You need to engage with the client to say, what is this client about? What space are you in? And then you prepare yourself. I think before you continue, remember then our fraud risk is also going to be increased. So it's not just now the audit risk, but also consider the fraud risk element that is going to also increase.
We'll take that into note as well in the work that will need to be done with regards to the client. In the first task, I think I did fairly well, because I assumed, based on my understanding, that a government entity is supposed to comply with grant, but there are those ones that are getting exceptions, especially the listed ones. They do get exception to apply IFRS. So I think that's where I missed it, but I'll quickly work on it.
She did fairly well. The one thing she did was probably miss is the accounting framework. She didn't pick up the correct accounting framework. She made reference to GRAP, and the entity reports in a different accounting framework, which is IFRS.
Mona re bona bohlokwa ba ho batlisisa ke eng se o se shebileng se bua eng ho wena hobaneng le gore ntho tseo kaofela o tswela pele jwang ho kena lekaleng lena o hloka senior certificate ya exemption for degree le senior certificate fela for diploma. Maths ke ntho e bohlokwa. Business economics le accounting di tla ho thusa. O hloka 7 years full time ya dithuto. Ho qala ka BCom honors, ho etsa di-articles tsa hao, ho fihlela o ngola exam ya hao ya ho qetela. Ha e ka nnete ha o batla bophelo bo hodimo, o tlameha ho ikemisetsa ho nka tsela e leng gore batho ba bangata ha ba ata ho e nka. Hustler Sihle yena o se a qetile ka dikwetliso tse ngata. Ka le leng la matsatsi e tla ba CA. Empa ka jeno o shebile position ya ho ba auditing supervisor, ene o lokela ho ba kgahlisa ka tsebo ya hae ya tax.
Now, for your next task, I want us to focus on this disposal because it's very high risk. The amount is quite material. It's actually big in the scope of the whole picture. I want you to consider the tax implication. I want you to go and look at, are they basically exempt from a tax perspective? And what will be the capital gains tax implication when you look at the transaction? From an accounting perspective, I also want you to see if they've applied the accounting framework properly and actually classified it correctly by the time that we actually sign off the audit opinion. So if you can run with those two tasks, then we'll have a debriefing before we do the next one. In task 2, what I wanted from Sihle, based on what she'd picked up on the risk assessment, we isolated a specific risk. I then said to her, I want you to explain your understanding on the accounting treatment as well as the tax treatment. And then she had to list it and say, per the framework, this is the specific requirement in terms of accounting, these are the specific requirements in terms of tax.
Since the company is a public entity, I have to use GRAP because that's their reporting framework. And the proper GRAP for non-current assets held for sale is GRAP 100. I'm a numbers junkie. I'll call myself that. I love maths, I love numbers. You can give me any sum, I can tell you without me using a calculator. So that time when I wanted to do something, I wasn't thinking about science. I was just thinking it should be accounting. And then when I asked around, that's when someone recommended that, yeah, you'll be good at doing become accounting and being in auditing. So that's how I got into the commerce environment. Okay. In terms of GRAP, there's nothing in detail with regards to the classification of the investment. So what I will do, I'll just borrow the requirements as per IFRS 5, which is another standard, which is in line with GRAP 100. So I'm searching IFRS 5 right now. Okay. In terms of IFRS 5, for an investment to be classified as held for sale at year end, okay. First of all, it must be available for immediate sale, and then management must be committed to a plan to sell.
What's very important in terms of your auditing skills, to be in the profession of auditing, you need to pay attention to detail. You need to be someone who's very interested in numbers, and you also need to be someone who's aware of industry. So you need to be a very well-rounded person, over and above your ability to crunch numbers, pay attention to detail. You need to also engage with the different stakeholders, which is something a lot of people overlook, the personality element, because you're dealing with a lot of people.
Those are the two requirements that I need to make sure we're done. And in terms of this entity, the investment was available for sale. But those are not the only requirements that I have to look at as per the briefing. I should also look at the tax requirements when it comes to the sale of the investment. Because it's a public entity, it is exempt from tax.
Are you done with your task too?
Yes, I am done.
Okay, maybe let's start with the accounting treatment, if you can go through me.
With the accounting treatment, I use GRAP 100 since we said that's their reporting framework. And this is an non-current asset for the client. And if it's sold at year end, we need to determine if it wasn't held for sale at year end. Yes, to make sure it's correctly classified. So what I did, I took out the requirements in terms of IFRS 5 because GRAP is not in detail when it comes to the classification of an non-current held for sale, but they are interlinked. It's just that the other one is IFRS, the other one is GRAP. In terms of IFRS 5, there are two important requirements to confirm whether the asset is held for sale at year end. Yes. We looked at whether it was available for immediate sale at the time when it was sold, and also whether management is committed to a plan to sell.
Okay, let me stop you there. You're dwelling more now on the auditing. I want the accounting. So what I want you to list is, what is the accounting framework requiring?
Okay.
Purely accounting, not audit.
Okay, what it's requiring is that the asset must be available for sale, and there must be a plan to sell the asset within 12 months.
Okay.
Yes. Those are the most two important requirements.
Are there any other requirements, the steps that they need to consider and check off?
Yes, there are other steps that they need to consider, but I didn't go in detail into those ones. I just looked at the important ones.
Okay. I think it's going to be important that you list all of them. Okay. I think let's go back to my office and then we'll tackle the third task. Task 2, I was very impressed. I was looking to see if she understood how to do the capital gains tax. Even though the entity was exempt from tax, if she applied her mind when it came to the capital gains tax, and she did that fairly well.
Ho ngata ho o tlameha ho ela hloko mosebetsing ona. Ha o le accountant, o tlameha ho tshepahala. O tlameha hore o bane le bokgoni haholo ka dintho tsa dipalo. O bane le bokgoni ba go hlalosa dinomoro ka tsela e utlwahalang. Ma Hustlers, ke eng se wena o ka se etsang ka jeno ho ntlefatsa ho sane ha hao? Ha ile sihle o se a qetile, o saletse ke task ya ho qetela.
and hape o tlameha gore a netefatse gore audit design ya hae e ya mo tswelletsa pele ga PR implementation.
Okay, Sihle, you've had a chance now to do basically 2 tasks. The first one was for you to basically understand the environment and how it works and where this client operates and just to understand the dynamics of that. Then the next thing I said to you was to say, now do you understand the accounting treatment and the tax treatment? You're happy with that?
Yes, I am.
Now that I've basically highlighted the first steps and the first 2 tasks that you've done, it's going to now prepare you for task 3. Now for task 3, this is what I want you to do. Based on your knowledge, I want us now to discuss how you're going to test the accounts that you looked at for task 2.
Okay.
Now, bearing in mind investments, what are the risks around investments? So how would you do basically the audit procedures to test it?
All right.
In task 3, based on Sihle's understanding of the client, the environment, the accounting treatment, the tax treatment, I then wanted her to basically formulate audit procedures. Audit procedures is how she's going to test this transaction. What work needs to be done so that we are happy with the number that's basically done and that it has complied with the accounting that she understood and it has complied with the tax that she basically understood, as well as the legal requirements, the regulating framework.
Nisahle Zinachi, and thank you for returning like a good tax return. What a bad joke. For someone who's not doing a bad job of it, in fact, is doing a great job, it's not even funny. We'll see if it comes to I'm small details, no crash number, but something that is crushing you right there is our word jumble. I'll give niggas another clue, which is the letter C. So triple C's, nasty C's. But right now, so when we talk about we must wear careful. Talintela siyabuya.
Okay, now we're going to start task 3.
All right.
I want you basically to give me the audit procedures for the accounts that you looked at the accounting treatment for, as well as the tax implication. Let's start with the investment. How would you go about testing the investment and the audit procedures? I basically want the audit procedures.
All right. First of all, an investment is an asset. And with investment, the biggest assertion is valuations, because companies can slightly overstate their investments. If you don't look through those balances that they present to you, you might miss it. So in terms of impairment, I would obtain the investment schedule from the client, which will also include the impairment assessment that they did. Sit down with the client, inquire on the inputs that they use to actually calculate the impairment of those investments. Afterwards, and then I do my own assessments on the inputs that they've used. And then after that, I do my own recalculation of the impairment, and then I conclude as to whether whatever they disclosed, is it still appropriate or they need to do an adjustment.
Okay, maybe to stop you there, what do you mean by impairment? What are you trying to achieve when you're testing impairment?
Okay, impairment, it's sort of like valuing the balance of the investment. But with impairment, we are reducing the balance of the investment based on whether there are doubts now as to whether the company will generate any income from that investment, or the investment is struggling on its own. So when we're doing an impairment assessment, we're just trying to find whether that investment needs to be adjusted downwards, not upwards. The biggest difference between varsity life and work life is your willingness. At varsity, it's all about the books. You're reading the books, you're writing what is required. But when you get to work environment, you need to remember that it's different from your studies, because now you have to apply it into these different sectors. At school, yes, they might cover some of the sectors, but they don't cover all of them. So when you come to the work environment, you need to be willing to learn. You need to forget that you are smart. Whether you graduated with cum laude, when it comes to environment, we're all the same. So your willingness to learn is what's gonna take you further. Yes.
Now, you didn't touch on existence. If you look at the nature of the entity, isn't existence an issue that's going to be a risk?
Okay, based on the mandate of the entity that they're supposed to invest, existence might also be a critical assertion, because they might say that they invested, but when you try to confirm with the investees that they invested on, they don't know of such investor. So it's also part of the assertions that I will test as well. How do I go about it is to send, it's either I can send a confirmation to the investee itself, or I can obtain the financial statements of those investees and review them to see if the interest that is being held by my client is included on them. Or I can also contact the auditors that are auditing those investees to confirm the balances for me, because I think that would be the proper confirmation, because they are third parties, they're independent from the investee and my client.
Okay. What about the issue of classification? How do you know that that investment has been basically correctly classified?
Okay, with classification, because we have different classification types for investments, it could either be an investment in a subsidiary, or an investment in a JV, or an investment in associate. So what I would do is to also apply the requirements of the standard to say, in order for you to classify it as a subsidiary, what are they supposed to meet? In terms of subsidiary, it's normally control. So I need to review the agreements, that the shareholders' agreements that they have, to see if they have a control in that investee for me to confirm if it's a subsidiary. But if it's a JV and associate, I also still need to review control. But in this case, the control will not be, it will be equal to both the parties that are on the shareholders agreement. It will not be saying, okay, this one has more, we'll have to nominate more directors into the board of directors. It will just be everyone is represented equally. Expenses that I incurred equally. The income that is brought in is shared equally. So in terms of classification, that's when I'll bring in IFRS now. In IFRS, we have different standards when it comes to the classifications of investments. We have IAS 27, we have IAS 28, we have IFRS 3, which talks about the subsidiaries of business combinations, and it covers broadly the control. Yes.
Sihle, welcome back. After our interview, we from the HR side, we found you to be quite a person who can work very well. You're a person who have good relationship, you have good interpersonal skills. You are someone who's a good communicator as well. But that was not the only part of the assessment. We have had a discussion with your mentor after the exercise that you've done, and then it also came out positive. So you can relax now. The question which is in your head now is, where to from here? What does that mean for you as a person after the application that you've made? I'll leave that to my colleague to take over.
Thank you, Zaba. As Zaba has actually indicated now, we're very impressed with your interview. Your technical skills are very strong, which is what we very much need in this organization. Okay, Sihle, you're going to basically give you the role of supervisor. There's a lot of opportunities within the firm. So basically what we're saying, this is a platform for you to stand up, stand on and do your utmost best. What you do is going to basically determine your career. You know the next role is as a manager, so I'm looking forward to you basically doing well in terms of your study. That's going to be very, very critical if you want to move in. And as your mentor, I'm going to guide you from a career perspective on what it is, the areas that you need to develop. So it's going to be a journey, but it's going to be a worthwhile journey. But that being said, welcome to Ngubane.
Thank you very much. I just have one more question. You just touched at the fact that if I do well on my studies, that might have changes. When you talk about my studies, to what level of my studies?
You'll need to qualify as a CA. So you need to pass your board 1 as well as your board 2. That is very critical.
Okay. All right. No, that's fine. I'm going to work on that. Thank you very much. And thank you for the feedback as well. Yeah, I'm excited to stay. It has been a long day. At least I got the job. Now I'll be able to build my dad the dream house and also make him retire from the jobs he's been doing. To all the hustlers out there, I'm saying, pressa, pusha, panda.
Well done, Sihle. Re ithutile ka wena gore ditsela tse di boima di go tswelletsa ko di-destinationeng tse dintle. Ha ile rona le ma-hustlers re a kgona ene hape re tla etsa. Potso ya rona ya beke ena e tswa ko Elihle wa Matatiele. O botsa gore hana ha o ithutela business management ke mosebetsi ofeng o ka o thola. Boholo ba course ena ke entrepreneurship. Katlego ya course ena ke gore o be wa rakgwebo kapa o ka sebetsa ko logistics, o ka sebetsa ko di-wholesale, o ka sebetsa ko di-retail kapa wa sebetsa mo e leng gore o motshwari wa go akaretsa. O ka ba office manager, general manager, logistics manager. Hopola gore o tlo hloka course e nngwe go ekeletsa ene hape o hloka le experience gore o fumane sebaka ko mesebetsing eo. Ha e ka ba hona le ho sa o fumanang, hopola o checkela Facebook kapa website ya rona. Ke emetse ya hao potso.
Mama, I made it. Mama, I made it. Josie, she's the best, the best, the best. Sengiyazi ngiyothemba bani ke uma kuza kumabhuku emazami mhla ngiba nazo. Josie, usihle ihustler, uyaspana, uyasrepresenter. But thina sifuna ukwazi lapha emakhaya nisirepresenta kanjani lapha ku World Jumble. Njengoba ke sikusikhathi ukuthi nginikeze impendulo bafethu, ngithi all I can say, your answers were on point bafethu. They were very accurate, which is our answer. Igama kade silifuna bafethu yi accuracy. Sithalala kuwena uma uyitholile, uma ungatholanga better luck next time. Kodwa mina ke mfana kaMntambo ngidonsa zonke intambo sengiphuma kanje. Uyazi ukuphuma nathi kanjani bafethu ku social media, ku YouTube na ku website yethu sikhona, and also ungakhohlwa ukubukela ama repeats wethu ngo Thursday ebusuku ngo 11 o'clock. Ngihlala ngitshela ngithi press up push up panda. Count your blessings, calculate your next move bafethu, and always remember, don't look down, look up and stay up. Siyahamba manje, ziphi khoma. See you next week.